FM 107.9 and AM 990.
Yes, sir.
Yes, have some.
All right, welcome to the Nation of Jake on the Voice, FM 107.9, AM 990. We're online, KWAM, streaming live on YouTube. The YouTube channel is Nation of Jake there on YouTube. One word, run it all together, Nation of Jake, and subscribe to the Nation of Jake on YouTube. You can also follow me on Facebook, as well as the Twitter, at Nation of Jake. Pretty much wherever you go on the internet on this Tuesday, September 10th, year of our Lord 2019. Overcast, 89 degrees or thereabouts, high of 93, but the cloud cover takes the edge off a little bit. I was outside earlier and Shirley, who runs the books around here, she says, "Where's the sunshine?" She doesn't sound like that, but she was like, "Where's the sunshine?" I said, "Forget the sunshine, lady. It's going to make it really hot. Just enjoy what we got. We have got 89 and a little cloud cover. So I'm fine with it." Also, the code yellow air alert today. The air quality index, since yesterday's code orange, with the 25-cent bus fare and everything, I've decided to now be the place to let you know the air quality index on the daily. We're at code yellow today. So that means if you are unusually sensitive, you should be wary that it's a moderate conditions out there with the air quality. That's if you're unusually sensitive. If you are unusually insensitive, like me, you're in the right place. The Nation of Jake on The Voice. On the program today, Apple has revealed the new iPhone, the iPhone 11. They've got these big events where they unveil all the new tech with Apple. Tim Cook gets up there. They have some sort of slideshow, videos. You know, back in the day, Steve Jobs used to do it. He's passed on. Now it's Tim Cook's deal. And he gets up there and he shows you all the new technology Apple will be offering mere weeks from now. New iPhones, new iPads, new apps, all kinds of stuff. I guess my question today is, how many more features can they pack into the phone to where you get the law of diminishing returns? This is the iPhone 11. I'm still on a 6. I'm still on an iPhone 6. And I don't even use everything that's available to me on the iPhone 6. So what can they possibly pack into this deal? We will find out in just a little bit. We've also got what seems to be an uprising in Germantown. They are very close to having their pitchforks and their torches out in the streets of Germantown. Some residents furious at the Board of Mayor and Aldermen over out-of-control spending. And I can say as a Germantowner, a lot of us understand now that with our own school system, that there's going to be some expense. And people in Germantown will gladly pay a higher tax rate, or they will divert more spending and do without in other places, cut in other places in the budget to fund good schools. It's part of that trifecta we talk about. Good schools, safe streets, and reasonable taxes. People in Germantown are fine with that. But when you are spending money irresponsibly in a place like Germantown, you're going to hear about it. And there's a vocal contingency who are concerned about what's going on in Germantown. We will turn our attention to that shortly. And Hasbro has released a new version of Monopoly, another new version of Monopoly. They've got a monopoly for everything, which seems odd. You would think Monopoly would have one version and they would have the monopoly on Monopoly. However, a new version of Monopoly is out, and it always riles up the people. They have Millennial Monopoly. They had Monopoly Socialism, which got pulled from the shelves. And now this new one has people talking. Say it's Monopoly for the misses. We've also got Palindrome Week. I didn't know that. I found out today. I found out in time for the show that it is Palindrome Week. What's that all about? I don't know. We'll find out. And we've got the news crews. So we got plenty to get to and a whole lot more here in the Nation of Jake. But the top news today, the top story of the hour, is that Ambassador John Bolton has been fired from his position as a national security advisor. Now, I call him Ambassador John Bolton because at one point he was the U.S. ambassador to the United Nations. And since then, he has been trading on that title. When I was in conservative talk radio, I don't consider this conservative talk. I consider this straight talk. This is Straight Talk Express, no jive, right? I used to work for a guy named Rusty, and Rusty had like a direct line to the former ambassador to the United Nations, John Bolton. Now, John Bolton, you see this guy everywhere. He's on Fox News all the time. He's a contributor on all these different websites because of his vast experience in foreign policy and with the United Nations. Now, he was hired by Donald Trump not all that long ago. I mean, I'm not sure how long he's been a national security advisor. Donald Trump has had quite a few. National Security Advisor Michael Flynn, and he was gone. He was replaced by H.R. Pufnstuf, more specifically H.R. McMaster. And then Bolton came in March of 2018. So 18 months or so in that position as National Security Advisor. And he was fired today, essentially. Fired. Now, John Bolton doesn't see it that way. Donald Trump asked for his resignation, which pretty much means you're fired. Now, the story goes kind of like this, and I've got a couple of different accounts of this, one from Fox News, one from CNN, because we always like to get both sides here in the Nation of Jake. From Fox News, Trump fires National Security Advisor John Bolton, says they disagreed strongly on policy. Now, just there with the headline, it's pretty odd, only insofar as that John Bolton is a known quantity. If you know anything about John Bolton, you know that this guy is a hawk. This guy's answer to most foreign policy questions is war. Like, hey, have we tried bombing these people? And if you're a president who wants to be known for being in fewer wars, stopping the wars you're in, and avoiding military action, then John Bolton is probably not a guy you want advising you. So just with that headline, they disagreed strongly on policy. I think that just points to the fact that Donald Trump really doesn't have a guiding principle with regards to foreign policy. Because if your foreign policy is we're going to negotiate and we're not going to get into all these wars, then John Bolton should never have been anywhere near your administration. So it's just kind of like you want to surround yourself with people who are of like mind in your philosophy, but are experts in their field. That's who you want to surround yourself with. But Donald Trump has so much turnover and so many different people. I mean, hell, all the names, it is unprecedented how much turnover this man has in the cabinet. And I think it has to do with the fact that the guy doesn't have much of a guiding principle on foreign policy. So, yeah, he's just kind of like, oh, you don't agree with me? See you later. Now, you're just getting all these sources coming out and talking, and you read the live updates of this. It's still a developing story. We've got a source saying that Bolton and Trump got into a bitter argument last night. John Bolton and President Trump got into a heated argument, according to two people familiar with what happened, over the president's plan to host Taliban leaders at Camp David. It's unclear if it was on the phone or in person. So this might just go back to the fact that Donald Trump talks about how he's open to meeting with the Taliban. He's open to meeting with Iran. And John Bolton's over there saying, no, we don't meet with those guys unless we're going to shoot them. That's when we meet with the Taliban. We don't meet with those guys at Camp David. We meet with those guys on a battlefield and we blow them up. So John Bolton probably made it known to some people that he was not on board with Donald Trump's willingness to negotiate or willingness to meet with the Taliban. And Donald Trump does not like to be usurped. I mean, who does, right? I'm the president. You're there to advise me. Maybe he wants to surround himself with yes men. But back to the article here. President Trump announced Tuesday he has fired National Security Advisor John Bolton, saying he disagreed strongly with his suggestions on a range of issues. I informed John Bolton last night that his services were no longer needed at the White House, Trump tweeted Tuesday. Of course, he tweeted it, and that's the first that a lot of people in his administration hear about it. They hear about this stuff when we hear about it on the Twitter, right? Probably not the best way to go about it. I disagreed strongly with many of his suggestions, as did others in the administration, and therefore I asked John for his resignation, which was given to me this morning. He continued, I thank John very much for his service. I'll be naming a new national security advisor next week. Now, the two have had disagreements on a range of issues, most significantly on the plans for a troop drawdown in Afghanistan. Remember that? Donald Trump was like, we're going to draw down the troops in Afghanistan. We're just going to get the hell out of there. And in Syria and all that. John Bolton's over there going, no, more troops. No, we got to get all the troops over there. Let's get some more troops. Let's go. And that's when Mattis stepped down. Remember, Mattis was like, he's drawn down troops in Syria. No, listen, I don't agree with all this. I'm out of here. So, Bolton is kind of the same way. He's like, no, we have to bomb these people. We don't meet with these people. We don't draw down. We draw up. Now, if Donald Trump is truly this guy who does not want to get us involved in more wars, and I believe he is a guy who does not want to get involved in more wars, then John Bolton should have never been close to the administration, because I'm not going to sit there and act like I know every little thing John Bolton has done. But everybody's got a brand. And John Bolton's brand is war hawk. This guy, he's in favor of regime changes. Not just, I wish Cuba would change their regime, or I wish Venezuela would, get their act together. He's in favor of the U.S. being the world police and going and starting a war and taking over and making these people change their regimes. See, I'm not in favor of that. I would love to see a regime change in Venezuela. I would love to see regime changes all over the place, but it's the people of those countries that have to do it. So, this doesn't reflect well on Donald Trump's guiding principles as far as foreign policy when he is firing guys saying, we disagreed strongly. It's like, well, if you knew what this guy was about, John Bolton, then you wouldn't have hired him. If you disagree so strongly on a range of issues, it's been there for 18 months. I think really what it came down to is John Bolton has went this enough. He's like, no, this is a president who wants to cut deals with Iran, and he wants to cut deals with the Taliban, and I'm not for it. So John Bolton claims, no, I quit last night. I told President Trump I wanted to resign. I offered my resignation. He did not ask for it. And then Donald Trump says, let's talk about it tomorrow. And then Donald Trump goes on Twitter and says, I've asked for the resignation and accepted the resignation of John Bolton so he could get to it first. So it's like, no, you can't quit because I'm firing you. That kind of thing. So that's kind of where you're getting into it with this whole John Bolton. Here's the deal. Most people don't know who John Bolton is. That's really it. People like us, you and me, we know who he is. He's the mustachioed warmonger who's on Fox News all the time. However, most people, 9 out of 10 on the street, go downtown. I don't know what streets are busy downtown. South Main. People going to lunch over the Green Beetle or wherever the hell they eat lunch these days down there, and ask them who John Bolton is. And they're saying, hey, isn't that a guy? How can we be lovers if we can't be friends? How can we start over if the fighting never ends? No, that's Michael Bolton. Who's John Bolton? Well, I don't know. John Bolton. And then maybe say, mustache, and put your finger over your lip like a little dangly mustache. Well, so now you've got Mnuchin, the Treasury Secretary. He's hosting some kind of press conference talking about the resignation of John Bolton. I'm not sure why Mnuchin is involved here, but he's there with Pompeo, and they're getting grilled about what this says about the administration.
Crisis, and I know the secretary has worked with their neighbors extensively.
Go ahead. Is this national security team a mess?
Absolutely not. That's the most ridiculous question I've ever heard of.
We've had three national security advisors in 3 years.
3 advisors in 3 years. Is this thing a mess? Mnuchin's like, no, it's not a mess. Get out of here. Ridiculous questions. It's all kind of crazy right now, isn't it? But people will make this a big deal, even though I'm not sure that people even really know, A, who John Bolton is, B, what a national security advisor does. I mean, he's one of many people. One of many people who advise the president every day. I mean, Pompeo, he's got a hand in all this. I mean, there are a lot of people. So Bolton was one of many voices and many advisors who surround the president daily. He's just not seeing eye to eye with what Donald Trump is doing. So, listen, I don't care. I don't know. Like, how is this going to affect your life? It's not, but it's all over Twitter. It's all, Donald Trump can't hold on to his employees. Oh, he needs to offer retention bonuses. Oh, he's a wild card. You never know what he's going to do. I guess, does this affect your life one way or the other? I'm not sure. I think it's better that John Bolton's not there if we want to be a country who doesn't go and answer every challenge around the globe with bombs. I think it's better that he's not there. And so there's a lot of reaction to this from people on both sides, and it's about what you would expect. A lot of Republicans saying, well, he serves at the pleasure of the president, and he served our country well. We like John, but the president's going to move on. And then you got Democrats saying, oh, well, when they name a successor, we will have more for you. But for now, it's good that John Bolton's not a part of that administration. But it shows the instability of the Trump presidency. All right, in a little bit, we got this new Monopoly game out that is causing a little bit of a ruckus. We've also got Palindrome Week. How do you celebrate Palindrome Week, and why is this week Palindrome Week? We'll hook up the palindrometer and see what's what. Coming up next, though, a little bit of an uprising in Germantown. All's not well in Red Devil country. We'll talk about that next right here in the Nation of Jake.
The Voice, KWAM, FM 107.9 and AM 990.
If you're thinking about buying or selling a home, stop. Don't do anything until you talk to my man, James Underwood. James Underwood has been helping people like you navigate the Mid-South real estate market for more than a decade. So whether you're looking to buy your first home or you want to upgrade to your forever home, James Underwood can help make it happen. No gimmicks, no guarantees, just a rock-solid guy that I've known for 25 years. So now, if you're looking to buy or sell a home, hit up James Underwood with CryLike. JamesUnderwood.crylike.com. That's JamesUnderwood.crylike.com.
For expert service guaranteed, call 866-EXPERTS.
That number could save you up to 30% on your energy bills. When you call today, Service Experts Heating and Air Conditioning can hook you up with a furnace tune-up. Right now, save $20 on a furnace tune-up. Service Experts Heating and Air Conditioning, your hometown Memphis tune-up pros.
Call 866-EXPERTS.
See website for license details.
If you're a baby boomer here in the Mid-South area, this message is for you. We've designed a brand new radio show with you in mind. It's The Retirement Income Doctor, hosted by Dave McAdams of the McAdams Group. Each week, Dave will teach you retirement strategies that have worked year after year, decade after decade, in any kind of market. That's right, the Retirement Income Doctor will teach you these strategies. So join us Saturday mornings at 10 for the Retirement Income Doctor.
When you're planning an event and need on-time delivery, call Odell Sanders. Sanders Catering has been in business for 31 years, specializing in breakfast, lunch, dinners, corporate, and social events. When you need a caterer to work with your budget, call Odell Sanders at 901-372-2631 or visit them online at sanderscatering.com and take a look at their menu. Sanders Catering, a leader in catering services. Call today at 901-372-2631.
Hi, this is Jim Shoemaker. Join me next Wednesday at 8 a.m. and again on Saturday at 9 a.m. with my special guests where we talk about everything financial. If you have questions for Talk Money, email them to talkmoney@shoemakerfinancial.com. That's Wednesday morning and again on Saturday at 9 a.m. on Talk Money, The Voice, KWAM 990 and FM 107.9. Helping you make the most of your money.
You and your friends and associates are invited to attend the Mississippi Senior Expo and Health Fair, Thursday, September 19th from 9 a.m. until 2 p.m. at the Brown Missionary Baptist Church, located at 7200 Swinia Road in South Haven, Mississippi. There will be health exams, flu shots, entertainment, and this year, there'll be food trucks on site to allow you to enjoy lunch while you're there, and a demonstration on healthy living by the Silver Sneakers. The Mississippi Senior Expo and Health Fair is promoted by the DeSoto Times and the Best Times. Mark your calendar for September 19th. You'll be glad you did.
I talk with healthcare professionals to bring you the latest wellness information Tuesdays and Thursdays on Live Life Well. Listen in and get tips like this to help you get started on your road to wellness.
The highest hurdle most of us ever get over is getting started on doing something every day. Start with a 5-minute walk every day. Have some comfort close by bedside. Jump on your treadmill, your stationary bike, or your sidewalk. Do 5 minutes and then go take a shower and get ready for your morning.
I'm Bernadette Davis, and I've got you covered every Tuesday and Thursday on Live Life Well. Listen in during the Mary Beth Conley Show, streaming live on KWAM.com. Voice.com.
All right, welcome back.
Yes, have some.
The Nation of Jake on The Voice, FM 107.9 AM 990. Online, KWAMthevoice.com. The Listen Live link is in the top right corner. We've also got the YouTube channel streaming live. YouTube.com. The channel is Nation of Jake. One word, Nation of Jake. And we've also got the Facebook page and Twitter. If you want to holler at me, probably the best ways to do it. Or the old email, traditional email. Yeah, gmail.com, nationofjake@gmail.com. All right, in a little bit, we'll also have the Nation of Jake podcast. It's all things Nation of Jake, the lunchbox, the flamethrower, all the merchandise you need. Really, just keeping up with me on the internet is enough. We don't have to bring any kind of merchandise into it. All right, so Germantown is where I stay at. Pretty good spot, really. It's really convenient to Memphis. The taxes are not out of control in Germantown. Schools are good. Streets are pretty safe. All right, and there are things that we realize as Germantowners we're going to have to pay a little bit more for. Like there hasn't been a tax increase yet with the old school district and whatnot, but that's something that I'm willing to pay for because I find it to be of value out there in Germantown. If you think about it, people give me heat for living in Germantown, especially some of my Midtown friends. Like, come on, Jake, you're an in-town kind of guy. Like, that's true. That's true. I'm an in-town kind of guy. I lived in town in Atlanta. I lived in Midtown. Midtown Atlanta, right in the center of town, man, and it was worth it. It was great. I had kids who weren't in school. I also was younger. I love being in town. It's just all set up very differently. Traffic is a big issue in Atlanta. If you live out of the perimeter in Atlanta, you work in Atlanta, man, you're going to spend 2 hours in the car a day, minimum. So the calculus is I'll pay a little bit more to live in town. And that way I don't have a big commute. So yeah, it's you transfer that over to Memphis area. And I'm like, you know what? Traffic's not as bad. And I want more value. I want more bang for my buck. That tax dollar. You got the highest taxes in the state, property tax-wise, over in Memphis, and not so much in Germantown. And then you got better schools in Germantown than you do in the city of Memphis. So this is a value proposition. Living in Midtown Memphis is great for some people. I'm not those people. So people who give me a heat for where I live, leave me alone. Because I live where I live. You live where you live. We'll hang out when we hang out. But don't start judging me because I live out east. I live out east because that's where I want to live. I mean, I don't go around going, oh, you dirty Midtown person. I'm not going to do that. That said, it's a better value for somebody like me. I got 2 kids in the schools there. Taxes take care of that, and that's important. Also, GPD is well funded. I think we can all agree we like our police force out in Germantown. They are on it. I mean, you call the police, and the police are there before you hang up the phone. It's great. It really is. And people will pay for that. They will pay for these things. Now, what they won't pay for is the irresponsible stuff, is the overruns, the things that are non-essential. All right? And for a long time, you had pretty reasonable and responsible governance there in Germantown. And for the most part, you do. But there have been some things that have come up. The big deals in Germantown now are about development. Some people want Germantown to stay that hometown kind of single-family home kind of deal. You got a lot of apartments. You've got condos popping up, a lot of development. People are upset about that. Well, there's one concerned citizen, at least one, Jonathan Riley. This is a guy who I just know from the internets. He's listened to the program before. We've had a dialogue online in the past. Seems like a pretty straight-up dude. Seems like a concerned citizen who brings up some real concerns for the people of Germantown on spending. All right, he's really taken the driver's seat on being the eyes and ears for people in Germantown, and he has gone to the online venues, whether it's the Next Doors or the Germantown bulletin board on the Facebooks. There's a few websites, message boards, and he goes to these boards of mayor and alderman meetings, and he goes and he listens, and he knows what they're spending money on. In Germantown, he's concerned, and we all should be if you are a Germantowner, or really just if you're somebody who doesn't like people taking advantage of having access to the public funds, that Germantown's spending a little bit too much money these days. All right, $155,000 on non-essential projects, such as more padding for the GPAC stage. They're putting this big amphitheater next to the Germantown Performing Arts Center, and they're voting more money into it, more padding into the budget, because they're running into these budget overruns. and these improvements they're wanting to make along the way. And this is like $750,000 or more, this project, and there's been some, I guess, maybe mistakes made. According to Jonathan, he says that they graded the property wrong, and they have to go back and fix it, and that's going to cost money. Well, if a contractor does something wrong, and they're being paid, they don't get paid to correct their own mistakes. But he's saying that that's exactly what's happening, is that they're padding the budget, and they're giving these contractors money to fix their own mistakes, and that nobody's watching. They're also, now this is the one that gets to me here, is that the city of Germantown is hiring a PR firm and paying them $82,000 to correct inaccuracies and educate citizens on what the government in Germantown is doing. So I guess to combat some of the online accusations that are going on. And I don't like the idea of, say, the city of Germantown spending taxpayer money in order to combat, what citizens are saying. That's just kind of, I don't know, make the citizens pay for your information campaigns, your re-education, as they're calling it. And again, re-education, that's a little strong. That kind of harkens to something they would have, re-education camps, like in Malta, Russia, or some other authoritarian regime. So that's $82,000. That's twice as much as the information campaign that the city of Memphis wanted to launch about the old referenda. Remember that one? Yeah, on the last ballot. They wanted the instant runoff voting. They wanted an information campaign. So they wanted the taxpayers to foot the bill for an info campaign to pay Carter Malone Group for some awful, terribly produced commercials that I didn't see on TV or anything. But city of Germantown wants $82,000 to educate the citizens and combat some of the inaccuracies that they say are out there right now. And also, there's some money set aside for the city to enter a contest to win an award, which is, I don't know, I think it's kind of cheap when you have to pay an entry fee to be considered for an award. That really just feeds the egos of those running the city. People like the city manager and the mayor and the alderman and whatnot, especially when in Germantown, one of the biggest problems is the infrastructure. I mean, every time there's a heavy, unexpected rain, people's houses get flooded. I mean, we were talking just not long ago in July. A big pop-up storm dumped a bunch of rain in a short amount of time in certain neighborhoods. I mean, people's houses were literally destroyed. We're talking hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars worth of damage because storm drains aren't working the way they're supposed to. Now, some of them may have been blocked, but this is happening on the regular when you got these summer storms and you've got all this flooding going on. I mean, that should probably be first before you start $82,000 for re-education campaigns or whatever it's called to correct inaccuracies, or $750,000 or more for the stage over at the Germantown Performing Arts Center, which isn't that a private organization? GPAC, it's a private organization. I mean, it's not funded by the city. I think they get some city funds, but overall, I don't think that is a city entity. This is these are the kind of questions that need to be asked, and I'm glad that there are people. And isn't it great that we have venues like social media and the web for these things to get out? Otherwise, you'd have to wait around and read in the paper and go to all these meetings, and who has time for it? Jonathan has time for it. This guy, he's going to mess around and get himself elected as an alderman pretty soon. Because I'm telling you, man, people, they really care about this stuff. And now we have the means by which they can all get together. Something goes, it gets shared all over social media, and people start holding their elected officials to account. And in a place like Germantown, where people are paying attention as much as they can, that's invaluable. So, again, I need to do a little research into this because this is just one man's account of all this going on. But I don't think that he's lying. I think he's actually going to the meetings and taking notes, and he's actually keeping count of where the tax money is going. Because even at a place in like Germantown, where you take it for granted that people have their act together and they're acting in your best interest, you got to see it with your own eyes. And so I'm glad that Mr. Riley has done that. But it's $155,000. Doesn't seem like a lot of money, but when your neighborhood is flooding and you can put that money towards, I don't know, correcting some of the drainage issues that you're seeing every time it rains, then I could totally understand why Mr. Riley here is riled up. Why he's going to go to the meetings and he's going to listen and say, okay, look, if we don't have proper drainage in our neighborhoods, then where's the money going? Where are my tax dollars going? How can we be reasonably assured that they're doing all they can to correct these problems when I'm looking across and I'm seeing $82,000 being spent on a PR firm to craft their message and correct inaccuracies that are going out? If you want to correct inaccuracies, do it the same way that Mr. Riley is doing it. Go online, or maybe take a meeting with the guy. Have him come on this radio show. That's what radio used to be about. We'll invite Mr. Riley on. We'll invite Mayor Palazzolo on, and then we'll air the grievances, and we'll come to some sort of understanding. You don't need to hire PR firms. Man, what a big business that is. That's what the business I need to get in. I craft a message. I'm fantastic at crafting messages. I do it for 2 hours a day here in the Nation of Jake. All right, in a little bit, Palindrome Week. Did you know it was Palindrome Week? I had no idea until just a few hours ago. I want to share with you some of my favorite palindromes. Coming up next, though, Monopoly. The folks at Hasbro are back at it with a new version, yet another new version of Monopoly. And this has people all up in arms. Fire up that outrage machine for the latest version of Monopoly. I'll tell you what it is next right here in the Nation of Jake.
The Voice, KWAM, FM 107.9 and AM 990.
CBS News update. President Trump is losing his national security advisor as John Bolton was effectively fired today after many run-ins with the president. Correspondent Stephen Portnoy.
News of Bolton's firing came just 90 minutes before he was expected to take part in a briefing here alongside the Secretary of State and Treasury Secretary. President Trump said on Twitter he disagreed strongly with many of Bolton's suggestions, one of which was that he not hold secret Camp David talks with the Taliban. Mr. Trump says he'll announce a new national security advisor next week. It'll be his fourth since taking office.
Secretary of State Mike Pompeo defended the president's decision to give Bolton the boot.
The president's entitled to the staff that he wants at any moment. This is a staff person who works directly for the president of the United States, and he should have people that he trusts and values.
Iran reacted to the news. A top advisor to President Rouhani calling it a decisive sign of the failure of the U.S. maximum pressure strategy against Iran. CBS News Update. I'm Jim Chenevey.
You and your friends and associates are invited to attend the Mississippi Senior Expo and Health Fair, Thursday, September 19th from 9 a.m. until 2 p.m. at the Brown Missionary Baptist Church, located at 7200 Swinia Road in South Haven, Mississippi. There will be health exams, flu shots, entertainment, and this year, there'll be food trucks on site to allow you to enjoy lunch while you're there, and a demonstration on healthy living by the Silver Sneakers. The Mississippi Senior Expo and Health Fair is promoted by the DeSoto Times and the Best Times. Mark your calendar for September 19th. You'll be glad you did.
The special event florist for the Mid-South is Lynn Doyle Flowers. They are famous for creating incredible floral arrangements and are available to fill even your last-minute needs. From the simple to the magnificent, their staff can create unique arrangements for your special occasion. Flowers always bring a smile, make someone's day, and for fast, convenient delivery, call Lynn Doyle Flowers today at 901-323-4521 or visit their beautiful new location at 6225 Old Poplar Pike.
Design Jewelers in Bartlett is renowned for being the best in custom jewelry since 1988. But did you know they also do jewelry repair? That's right. If you need size fixing, ring setting, stone tightening, chain or watch repair, stop by Design Jewelers at 3135 Kirby Whitten Parkway. Their combination of expertise and customer service cannot be found anywhere else. That's Design Jewelers in Bartlett, 3135 Kirby Whitten Parkway.
Did you know that your potential customers look at your website and determine your credibility within 8 seconds? Make sure your business reflects the quality service you provide. Contact Control Alt Design for a free quote today. Today's marketplace is very competitive and you need a professional web presence. Control Alt Design offers web design at a fraction of what the larger firms charge. Control Alt Design has been helping local businesses stand out on the web for over 20 years. They also offer logo design, business card design, flyers, brochures, and more. See their work today at ControlAltDesign.com.
Just before the Labor Day holiday, there was a big fuss about an announcement about an agreement with major cell phone companies and regular telephone companies and state attorneys general around the country that we were told, and all the fuss afterwards was going to eliminate all the scam calls that are coming on our cell phones, all the robocalls and all the rest. Well, that was too hopeful. The reality is there's a lot of work left to do to stop the calls coming in, which are in the billions each month now, that have false caller IDs, false area codes, all kinds of things with the calls coming in from scammers. Follow my rule is the best way to protect yourself. In the meantime, if you don't recognize who's calling you, family or friend, don't answer the phone. Let it go to voicemail and then decide whether you're going to call back.
The backyard's looking great, Rob.
Thanks, man. I was planning on adding a deck, too. Know any good contractors?
Why don't you just ask Home Advisor?
Home what?
HomeAdvisor.com. You just tell them about your project and they match you with local pros that can do the job.
Nice. Now, how much does it cost?
Oh, Home Advisor's totally free to use. Plus, you can read customer reviews, check pricing, and book appointments for free.
What's the website again?
HomeAdvisor.com. Or just download the free Home Advisor app.
Home Advisor.
If you have hard water, the lime scale not only leaves white spots, it clogs pipes and breaks down appliances, costing you hundreds of dollars in energy and wear. Eliminate lime scale and other water issues like brown staining, bad odors, and lead with HydroCare water products available from Wave Home Solutions. Wave's affordable systems don't use salts or chemicals. You'll love the way your water tastes, smells, and looks. Satisfaction guaranteed. For more information, go to wavebestwater.com. That's wavebestwater.com.
All right, welcome back.
Yes, have some.
The Nation of Jake on The Voice, FM 107.9, AM 990, online, KWAM, Streaming live on YouTube, Nation of Jake on YouTube, also Facebook and Twitter at Nation of Jake. You know, the game Monopoly, I never liked it. I always thought it was awful. My brother and sister would play it. They would lay out all the mortgage cards and whatnot, all the different properties, all the different railroads. And in my footy pajamas, as a 2-3-year-old, I would just slide right into the cards and mess up their game because their game was boring as hell. Just boring. One of the game pieces was a thimble. That wants to be a thimble. Everybody wanted to be the race car. Top hat? Wants to be a top hat. The whole game is terrible. It's no fun. It takes forever. It all pretty much relies on chance. I don't like games of chance. I like games of skill. I'd rather play chess or checkers or guess who or categories, something like that. But Monopoly still remains a pretty nice brand for Hasbro, and they've been reinventing the game. Not really the gameplay of the game, but they've just been giving them different skins, different motifs. I've seen you Star Wars Monopoly, Deadpool Monopoly, Simpsons Monopoly. You can get your Monopoly games customized. I mean, I think there's a website called like USAopoly. So if you're like an Atlanta Braves fan, you can get Atlanta Braves Monopoly. If you're a Memphis Tigers fan, and you can get Memphis Tigers Monopoly. And so they just become little showpieces. You'll put them on a shelf. Oh, look, it's my custom Memphis Tigers Monopoly game. Oh, hey, do you want to play? Hell no, it's boring. It's completely and totally boring. Nobody enjoys playing Monopoly. But the thing lately is that Hasbro has decided they'll just license Monopoly out to anybody. I saw Deadpool Monopoly the other day, just all over the place. It's just like, all right, whatever. Let's take something that's popular, make it into a Monopoly game. And then they've been putting out these different Monopoly, Millennial Monopoly, which has a lot of references to avocado toast and millennials, all the stereotypes about the millennial generation. There was one about Monopoly Socialism, which was bashing on socialism, which I was like, actually, that's a pretty good idea. Socialism is terrible. If there's any way to do that, Hasbro is doing it well. That one got pulled from shelves because I guess it was offensive to people. Well, the new game of Monopoly is Mrs. Monopoly, or I should say Miss Monopoly. All right, one of America's most recognizable board games is getting an upgrade. Hasbro is debuting a new game celebrating the women's movement, women's empowerment. Miss Monopoly, marking the first time in Monopoly history when a new mascot will be featured on the cover of the game. This reminds me of Miss Pac-Man. Same game. Put a bow on Pac-Man's head, and it's Miss Pac-Man. And Pac-Man's a transvestite. Here you go. It's like same game, pink bow on top of the head of Pac-Man. Boom, Miss Pac-Man. No other changes to the gameplay whatsoever. Just a way to just sell more of the same crap in a different package. However, in Miss Monopoly, female players get more money. I guess that's the rule. Unlike the classic game, women will collect 240 Monopoly bucks when they pass go instead of just the 200. Men will still just collect 200. Women will get 240. The idea is to create a game where women make more than men. This is the first game to do so, according to Hasbro. Can they call it Hasbro anymore? Don't they have to change that? Hasbro. It's a fun new take on the game that creates a world where women have the advantage, often enjoyed by men, the company said in a statement. Wow, it's a fun new take. Sure, but don't worry, if men play their cards right, they can make more money too. That's not the only difference, though. Instead of buying property, like Pennsylvania Avenue or Boardwalk, players will invest in inventions created by women. Things like Wi-Fi and chocolate chip cookies. I had no idea Wi-Fi was created by somebody's Wi-Fi. No worries. Mainstays such as jail, luxury taxes, and chance cards are still included. We've got Miss Monopoly available for pre-order beginning tomorrow, or today. Today's the 10th, right? Yeah, today's the 10th. So you can get Miss Monopoly if you're really into that kind of thing. I guess there's Monopoly collectors. I would say it would be a good idea to invest in these things because, like, when they pull them off the shelves, they become more valuable. Like the socialism one, if you went out and got that on day one, Monopoly Socialism, and then it goes out of print and they pull it and it's rare, then some Monopoly connoisseur collector would probably want that one down the road. Man, if I'd kept my toys, the ones I had back in the 80s, I'd be a millionaire right now. By the way, it could be very self-reflexive. If they're going to have you invest in innovations created by women, you invest in these inventions, how about Monopoly itself was created by a woman? I found that out today. I was today years old when I found out that Monopoly was invented by a woman. In 1866, Elizabeth Maggie was born, and she often spoke out against the railroad and steel and oil monopolists of her time. In 1904, she invented and patented what she called the landlord's game. In the game, players circled around the board, buying up railroads, collecting money, and paying rent. It had two set of rules, one for monopolists and one for the anti-monopolists, to show how different approaches to property ownership could result in different social outcomes. So this was a game created by a woman to criticize income inequality. This is according to some article in CNN. We've got, actually, the book, The Monopolists, Obsession, Fury, and the Scandal Behind the World's Favorite Board Game. Eventually, a man named Charles Darrow copied a version of the game and sold it to Parker Brothers in 1935. Maggie sold her patent to Parker Brothers the same year, thinking that more people would now get to learn about economic inequality, but it didn't work out that way. Monopoly became a hit, and it became a celebration of capitalism and greed. Being anti-monopoly isn't being anti-capitalism. It's the opposite. Capitalism is about competition. It's about the free market. Capitalism doesn't lend itself to monopolies. You have competition. It's not until you've got all these crony capitalists that people get to have a monopoly. It's just kind of, I don't know, you can look at it any way you want. You can say, hey, it's a social critique or it's a celebration of. All I know is that the game is boring. It's the most boring game. Maybe they should put out a version of Monopoly that's not boring, and I'll be involved with it. Just something that's not just so slow and ends with people crying. The best Monopoly story of recent weeks was that little boy who lost all his money in Monopoly paying taxes, and he freaked out and cried because he had to pay all the taxes. That's pretty much my whole story on Monopoly. It's a sad state because you still have to pay taxes in the game. It's awful. All right, coming up, it's Palindrome Week. We're going to plug in the palindrometer and tell you exactly why the same things are happening backwards and forwards this week, especially here in the Nation of Jake.
The Voice, KWAM, FM 107.9 and AM 990.
Stop everything you're doing right now and ask yourself, are you currently receiving steady paychecks? What about when you're retired? Will you receive a monthly check to cover your expenses and also have some fun? Dan Groban and Phil Menard at Servant Advisors Group call this mailbox money. It's the monthly check you'll receive throughout retirement. They want to help remove stress from your retirement. They don't want you to worry about if the money will show up or how much money you'll receive. The only thing they want you to think about is how to spend it when it arrives. Find out how to get enough money in your mailbox every month when you're retired. Call Servant Advisors Group at 855-260-1000 for a complimentary retirement analysis with strategies that could help your nest egg provide you monthly income you'll need in retirement. Call right now, 855-260-1000. Servant Wealth Management is a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Servant Advisors Group, LLC. Insurance licensed in Tennessee, Mississippi, and in Arkansas.
When's the last time you looked at the windows in your house? Not through the windows, but at the windows. Really looked at them. There's dirt, streaks, buildup, smudges, fingerprints, paw prints, spider webs, dead bugs. There's little white speckles. I have no idea what they are, and who knows what else. Now, cleaning all the windows in your house makes a big difference, but it's also a big job. That's why you need Just Windows Home Services. Just Windows has been taking the pain out of window cleaning since 1992. Just Windows cleans all types of windows, storm windows, screens, skylights, interior, exterior, upstairs and down. Now, I know I told you the company is called Just Windows Home Services, but they do a lot more. Roof and gutter cleaning, pressure washing, mirrors, blinds, ceiling fans, light fixtures, chandeliers. Look, if you've got hard to reach areas of the house, then you need Just Windows Home Services. Call for a free estimate, 751-3934. That's 751-3934, or get them online at justwindowsmemphis.com. That's justwindowsmemphis.com.
Hey, are you ready for your new baby?
Yeah.
Are you familiar with the ABCs of infant safe sleep?
No, what's that?
Babies should sleep alone, on their back, and in their own crib.
Wow, I didn't know that. Thanks.
For more information regarding infant safe sleep, contact the Shelby County Health Department at 901-222-9000 or log on to shelbytnhealth.com. Funding for this was provided by Tennessee Department of Health.
Your dog is a furry member of your family, and they deserve the highest level of care. Dogtopia has award-winning daycare, boarding, and spa services. They are the safest, cleanest, and most transparent dog daycare and boarding option for you. The best part? You can check in with your dog anytime on the video stream on your phone. Dogtopia, located at Carriage Crossing. Find out more at dogtopia.com to schedule your dog's best day ever.
All right.
Yes, have some.
Let's plug in the palindrometer and find out about Palindrome Week here in the Nation of Jake. It's not just in the Nation of Jake, it's everywhere. Everywhere you look, if you're writing down the date, it's a palindrome all week long. Of course, a palindrome is a word or series of numbers that's the same whether it's written forwards or backwards. You know, you get it? You know, like the word mom, forwards and backwards, wow, dad, radar, race car, noon, deified, level, kayak, taco cat, All those are palindromes, but all the dates all week, this week, are palindromes. Today is 9/10/19. That'd be 9/10/19. Backwards is 9/10/19. Tomorrow is 9/11/19, which backwards would be 9/11/19. And get it? Get it? All the dates from the 12th through the 19th are all palindromes. I guess this only happens once every billion years. I don't know how often it happens, but there's some math to it. No, I love palindromes. I remember when I first learned about palindromes when I was a kid, I was probably reading some sort of Encyclopedia Brown book, and palindromes figured into the mystery. And, you know, as an impressionable 7 or 8-year-old, I'm like, oh, hell, palindromes, this is fun, right? So my dad immediately told me about the palindrome that he knew. He wrote down on a sheet of paper, a man, a plan, a canal, Panama. And I said, oh, wow, it does say that backwards. What does that mean, Dad? And he's like, it's a man, a plan, the Panama Canal, Jake. I'm like, what's that? No, I'm 7. He's like, shut up. But as you go, you learn more and more palindromes. Not just the words, race car and radar. Those were easy. I didn't think of deified, though. That is a palindrome. Pretty cool. But you've also got like these long-form palindromes, not unlike a man, a plan, a canal, Panama. That's a good one. How about one that's a classic? Able was I ere I saw Elba. Now that's palindrome, more long-form. There are some new ones. I mean, not new to me, maybe to you, I don't know. Was it a car or a cat I saw? Palindrome. Boom. Let's plug in the palindrometer a couple more times here. No X in Nixon. That's a palindrome. Same forwards and backwards. No X in Nixon. It doesn't really make sense because there's clearly an X in Nixon. You have to write it in there for it to be a palindrome. Here's one I didn't know before, but I know it now, and I'm glad I do. How about Mr. Owl ate my metal worm? Write that one down. You're going to like that. Your kids are going to love this. You're sitting around tonight. Hey, kids, you know what palindromes are? Mr. Owl ate my metal worm. Do geese see God? If you want to get philosophical about the animal kingdom and the spirituality thereof. Also a palindrome. Do geese see God? Probably my favorite one has to be the old classic. Go hang a salami. I'm a lasagna hog. Because it's kind of insulting, too. That's kind of like a palindrome insult. Long form palindromic insults. Go hang a salami. I'm a lasagna hog. Just so defiant. So yes, palindrome week. If you are interested in that kind of stuff, which I am. You know, Rubik's Cubes, palindromes, things like that. In a little bit, we've got the news cruise. And there's a lot of headlines to get to. Also, one of my favorite guys, and we have Donald Trump to thank for him, is Neil Gorsuch of the U.S. Supreme Court. He did an interview, and not often do you read interviews with Supreme Court justice, but Neil Gorsuch kind of sounds like me in this interview, and I guess that's why I like him so much. But coming up next, Apple revealing the latest iPhone, the iPhone 11. What can they possibly cram in this little computer? We're going to find out next right here in the Nation of Jake.
This is the Voice KWAM Memphis. The latest news stories are here. This is KWAM Memphis.
This is CBS News on the Hour. Real news, real reporting.
I'm Jim Chenevey. After a series of disagreements, National Security Advisor John Bolton says he offered to resign yesterday and that President Trump said, let's talk about it tomorrow. Well, today, Bolton was fired. Correspondent Stephen Portnoy.
Well known to cable news viewers as a foreign policy hawk, John Bolton was brought in by President Trump because he tired of the more conventional advice he was getting from H.R. McMaster. But Bolton was a skeptic of the president's moves to engage Kim Jong-un and more recently the Taliban. This week, sources close to Bolton made his opposition to Camp David talks clear. But Press Secretary Stephanie Grisham says that was not the breaking point. She says it was many, many issues.
One of the latest controversies to surround the president shows no signs of letting up. Paula Reed reports.
Even though Hurricane Dorian may have moved out to sea, a political storm continues to rage at NOAA. Its lead scientist has vowed to investigate whether the agency compromised its scientific integrity by defending President Trump in the dispute known as Sharpie Gate.
That's where the president contended hurricane threatened Alabama, even as Weather Service forecasters denied that. At one point, the president produced an outdated Hurricane Center forecast cone for the storm with a black magic marker used to extend that cone over Alabama. Houston, the latest city to report a series of lung ailments possibly linked to the use of electronic cigarettes. Health Authority Dr. David Pearce.
There's a lot of unanswered questions about the science behind what's exactly causing this, but the bottom line is this is a real phenomenon. Parents, you need to look out for your kids, find out what they're doing, educate them that this is dangerous.
New York is proposing to join Michigan in a statewide ban on flavored e-cigarettes. Well, now that all the crew members have been rescued from the Golden Ray, officials are still trying to figure out what to do with that capsized 656-foot car carrier. Coast Guard Captain John Reed.
The issue is bringing another ship alongside with the interaction, as that large ship would cause water to fill back in. I think they want to make sure that the vessel is stable, that it's steady, and it's not going to move from its present location.
A popular pickup truck gets some top marks from safety officials. WWJ's Jeff Gilbert.
Top Safety Pick Plus is the highest safety designation the Insurance Institute gives. They give it to push car makers to make vehicles that are safe even safer. In the case of the Ram, Fiat Chrysler adding some protection to the frame and greatly improving the headlights.
The Census Bureau says median household income increased by just under 1% in 2018 to $63,179. That matches a previous mark that was set way back in 1999. The poverty rate fell to 11.8%, lowest point in 18 years. On Wall Street, the Dow down 31. This is CBS News.
The CBS World News Roundup Late Edition with Jim Chenovy.
President Trump held a series of meetings today on the border wall.
Every weeknight on the CBS Radio Network.
Are you more than $10,000 in debt? Feel like you're on a never-ending treadmill, staying in one place and never getting ahead with those minimum payments? Do you feel like there's no way out? Don't let the credit card companies bully you anymore. There are programs in place to help you get free of your debt, and you don't have to pay the entire amount you owe. The program at Total Financial Freedom can help you get debt-free in months instead of decades. Get off the debt treadmill and stop the harassment. Get free of credit card debt, signature loans, department store cards, internet loans, and medical bills. Call now at 800-899-8922 for free information. For about 10 years, Total Financial Freedom has helped thousands. They're A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, too. Get off the endless cycle without having to declare bankruptcy. You'll have the right to settle your debt for a mere fraction of what you owe. Call Total Financial now at 800-899-8922. That's 800-899-8922.
Did an asteroid strike in Mexico kill the dinosaurs? Vicki Barker reports.
Found geological evidence from the moment 66 million years ago that a giant asteroid smashed into the Earth. Among the melted and broken rocks, the scientists found no trace of sulfur in this sulfur-rich region. That suggests the impact vaporized the rocks and the sulfur gases caused global cooling. The blast ignited trees thousands of miles away, triggered a massive tsunami, and plunged the planet into a long winter, killing off the dinosaurs. Vicki Barker, CBS News.
If you like to take in live concerts, you know the price has been getting higher and higher. According to the latest figures from Pollstar, the average price to the 100 most popular tours in North America has quadrupled over the past 2 decades, from $25.81 in 1996 to $91.86 right now. And that far outpaced inflation for the same period. I'm Jim Chenovy, CBS News.
Have you wanted to speak a new language, but you thought it'd be too hard or take too much time? Then go to Babbel.com, download the app, and try it for free. In just 15 minutes a day, you'll be on your way to speaking a new language in just a few weeks. And right now, you can try Babbel for free. Babbel starts out teaching you words and phrases by matching them with pictures. You won't believe how easy the interactive program is. Soon the sentences get a little bigger, and before you know it, you're having simulated conversations voiced by native speakers. And because Babbel is crafted by language experts and uses the spaced repetition method, in just 10 to 15 minutes a day, you'll be speaking the language of your choice with real confidence. With Babbel, you can speak a language. Just go to Babbel.com and start your first lesson in the language of your choice for free. Download the Babbel app or go to Babbel.com and try it for free. That's BABBEL.com.
Jake, where'd you get those boots?
But he's got meat between his ears. Yeah.
Welcome to the Nation of Jake on The Voice, KWAM, FM 107.9 and AM 990.
Yes, have some?
Yes, have some.
Welcome back to the Nation of Jake on The Voice, FM 107.9, AM 990. Online, KWAMTheVoice.com. Listen live, link in the top right corner. Streaming live on YouTube. We'll be streaming live, and the show will be on until about 3 p.m. or so. And then the Earl Farrell for Memphis show will take over. But until then, we're going with trending today. What's happening in the world on this 10th day of September? We've got John Bolton, National Security Advisor. He is now the number 2 trending topic on the Twitter. He's been fired. Donald Trump has shown him the door. After 18 months, he took over for H.R. McMaster, and McMaster took over for Michael Flynn, who got in some trouble. So we've got the 3rd National Security Advisor fired. No word on who the next one will be. Donald Trump will announce a name, a candidate for that soon. I don't think that has to go through any kind of approval. I think that he can just hire whoever he wants as a National Security Advisor. It doesn't have to be confirmed by the Senate. Not a cabinet post so much as just an advisor role. Now, John Bolton, most people don't know who he is. You may have seen him on Fox News. He's got the mustache. He kind of looks like kind of the old weaselly hand of the prince or king that you would see like in a Disney movie. He's got the flowing little mustache, and he just looks like just an old guy, like an old wonk. What we do know about John Bolton is that the guy is in favor of the United States getting involved in wars on multiple fronts. Like, let's be a hardliner. We don't negotiate. We just take what we want. We go out, we're the world police. Not so much as a neocon. He would reject being a neocon, but he's more of a nationalist hawk, is John Bolton. And so Donald Trump's like, look, we didn't see eye to eye on a lot of stuff. Well, the problem I have with that entire mode of thinking is that John Bolton has a brand, and he's had one for years and years and years. You should know what the guy is all about. And if he doesn't line up with your philosophy today, it's not he who has changed. It's you. If you thought he was a man for the job 18 months ago, he's still the same guy he was. I just think that it points out how Donald Trump really does not have a guiding principle on foreign policy. I mean, he really doesn't know what he's doing. He's relying on people like John Bolton and like Mike Pompeo and the people around him to do it. I just don't know that John Bolton was ever a really good fit in that role. That said, I think more people just want to say, look, Donald Trump can't keep his people around. They don't like working for him. This is a dysfunctional administration. And there's some of that. And I think that's where most people are discussing John Bolton. And the whole deal with Bolton said that I was going to resign last night of my own volition. And then Donald Trump, he goes out and says that he's accepted my resignation and he asked for it. So it just, this is one of those deals where we'll talk about John Bolton today, but I don't think this really goes past today. The other thing people are talking about on this day is the new iPhone. The new iPhone has been unveiled every so often, I guess every year. Apple has these big conferences where they unveil all their new products for the season. These events, and they used to be where Steve Jobs, when he was still around, he would go up there like a rock star, come out on stage in his turtleneck and his dad jeans, and everybody's like, yeah, well, show me something new. Now it's Tim Cook, a little less rock star presence, and he's come out, and he's just been steering the ship since the death of Steve Jobs. He's done an all right job with Apple, but it's been more pragmatic. You know, Apple and the iPhone, it's reached a point where people don't rush out and get the new one in mass like they used to. When the iPhone first came out, there were the people who waited in line for days to get it. And then each upgrade, there was something new, something big. Now it's got to the point they've packed so much stuff into these phones. What else do you want from your phone? You got a camera, you've got multiple cameras, you got a video camera, you've got games, you've got apps, you've got video conferencing, you got facial recognition, you've got thumbprint and fingerprint recognition, you got Bluetooth, you got remote control, you got web browsing. What else do you want your phone to do for you? What can the iPhone 11 possibly offer you that's not on your iPhone X? I don't know. I still use a 6. All right, that's how much I use. I mean, I use my phone a lot. I'm a power user, but I have not felt like I need the upgrade. I'm fine with not having to finance the phone anymore because that's what they do now. I got the prices on the new iPhones. I believe that the iPhone 11 is going to cost you $699, $700 for a phone. Now, it's more than a phone. I mean, you got to think about it, put it in perspective. What this phone can do, it's more powerful than the first computer you got. You know, if you're me, your first computer that you owned that was yours was the one you got when you went off to college. And it's probably an HP or a Dell, something like that. And it had 66 megahertz or something like that. It was a 166, whatever it was. It wasn't even a gig. We weren't even talking gigabytes then. And now you got these phones are more powerful than any one computer that sent the Apollo mission to the moon. I mean, it's insane what you're getting in your phone these days. It's a supercomputer. It really is. $699 for the iPhone X, or I'm sorry, 11. 1-1. The iPhone 11. And then I guess the Pro version is $1,000. And then there's a even higher version than the Pro version, which is like $1,099. So you're looking at $1,100 for the top of the line iPhone 11. And right now, they just had the event, started a couple hours ago, and it's probably still ongoing. The iPhone, I'm not even sure what they're able to do as far as advancing that, but they're seeing a decline in iPhone. So Apple is talking more about content, is what they're doing. They've launched this Apple Arcade, where it's like more about video game subscriptions. Apple Arcade is a new subscription service. It launches on September 19th. It costs $4.99 a month. It provides access to a bunch of indie games and classic titles, as well as some from some companies like Capcom and Annapurna. While most mobile games are free to play and rely on a lot of in-game transactions to draw in revenue, Apple Arcade will be a premium option. While iPhone revenue is on the decline, Apple has been leaning into services in the finance, publishing, and entertainment industries, which brings you to Apple TV Plus. Yeah, Tim Cook unveiled a trailer for Jason Momoa's new show, See. All right, and this is going to be on Apple TV Plus. So they're launching their own streaming service on November 1st of this year, $4.99 a month, just like the Apple Arcade. So again, this is going to go into how content is more strategic than facility. You want the content. Your Apple iPhone is just a way for you to get it, or your Apple TV, or your Amazon Fire Stick, or your Roku, or your Samsung Galaxy. It's all about the content, and that's where I guess Tim Cook knows that's where he needs to be. Because again, what else can your phone do for you? It's already got multiple cameras on it. I guess this iPhone 11 is going to have like 3 cameras on it. So I don't know, can you do 3D graphics? So they already have some of the features where you can do like really cool photos. I mean, they've done so much with it. And to their credit, Apple is becoming a victim of their own success. They were the first to really do this, and now everybody else is catching up with them. But then you get to the end of the line, there's nowhere else to go. I mean, you're just kind of like, okay, how much farther can we get? How much closer to the edge can we get? So Apple, as profitable as they are, I think they're probably the most profitable company on the planet. They are getting into the content game. So Apple TV Plus will probably be where they go. They're complete with Netflix and Disney Plus and Amazon Prime. And so they're going to feature original shows from Oprah Winfrey. They also teased up a new Peanuts original called Snoopy in Space. And also a program called The Morning Show, a drama that stars Reese Witherspoon and Jennifer Aniston. I'm not sure if that's enough to make anybody pay $4.99 a month. That said, if you can, get some more value out of that, maybe get the arcade games and the Apple Plus TV together. So the iPhone 11, here we go. This is the meat and potatoes, what the company is now built on. The iPhone 11. It looks nearly identical to last year's line on the surface. It features a 6.1-inch Retina display, spatial audio to create an immersive sound field around you, and new cameras positioned on the back, including a new wide-angle camera for faster autofocus and an ultra-wide camera for capturing more in photos. The selfie camera can now switch to landscape mode and take slow-motion shots. The iPhone 11 is getting new colors, including green, yellow, and purple. So they're really just able, with the iPhone, to improve on the non-phone stuff. I mean, it's really a camera with a phone on it. I mean, you call it, that's what it should be. I mean, the camera capabilities on an iPhone are way more advanced and way cooler than it actually being a phone. I mean, outside of FaceTime, the communication between people, the way that phones work, has really been basic since the Nokia 5150 or whatever it was called. 5165? 5150 was a Van Halen record. So the one thing, though, that I lament about the iPhone and cell phones in general, and maybe this is an app they could work on. This is a $1 million idea if anybody can make it happen. I actually reached out to my app guy. And I think that the one thing we miss with modern telephoning is the ability to hang up on people. And I've brought this up before on the program. Way back when you had an actual plain old telephone line, a POTS line, plain old telephone service. You had a telephone, analog telephone line. You maybe had a rotary phone. It was nice and heavy. The receiver would hang there on that transparent hook coming out of your olive drab pea green phone on the wall. When you were having a conversation with somebody and you just had enough of them. I mean, this guy's talking your ear off, or he's a telemarketer, whatever. You just weren't having any more of the conversation and you wanted to end it abruptly. You would hang up on that person. You'd hang up on that person and they knew it. Yeah. It wasn't just like you end the call and they continue to scream at you until they realize that you're gone and they figure, oh, that person must have had a bad connection. They never really know if you hung up on them. But back in the day, you hung up on somebody, they knew it because you wanted them to know it. You wanted them to know, I've had enough of you. You're not even worth my time anymore. I'm hanging up. So you'd hang up and you just have that, the clack and the ching, and you could hear that bell ringing. They were done. You could tell when they hung up real hard too. Like all the varying degrees of hang-uppage. Yeah, you will get your hang-uppance. And you can't do that anymore. It's all gone. It's all gone. The ability to pretty much say up yours with a hang-up, you can't do it. So how cool would it be if Apple would introduce that feature? You can end the call like you would normally by pressing the red button, or you could hang up. There's end call, which is civil. I'll just end the call. Or hang up in their face. And so you hit the button that says hang up in their face, and they get that sound effect. They get that sound effect followed by a dial tone. To me, that would be worth upgrading my phone from an iPhone 6 to the iPhone 12 when they come up with a way for me to hang up on people, because I think we still need that. I think that sends a message that we cannot articulate anymore. Our voices have been taken away with the advent of this technology, and somebody needs to put it back. Give me my hang up button, Apple. Tim Cook. This is Jake Cook calling you and telling you, give me the ability to hang up on you if you were ever to call me. But first, I would tell you my idea. And if you rejected it, then I would hang up on you. But then you would have to accept it before. Never mind. I just talked myself in some weird circle. All right. Coming up, we've got the news cruise. We've also got something compelling. Oh, yeah. How well would a photographic memory benefit you? Probably not as well as you think, given this day and age of technology. But yeah, we got the news cruise as well. I do want to get into this interview with Neil Gorsuch. Neil Gorsuch, Supreme Court Justice, who some people will say he stole the seat from poor Merrick Garland. He did an interview with CNN. And I think anybody who was skeptical because he was one of Donald Trump's appointees to the Supreme Court, they need to read it. And I think you'll come around on old Neil Gorsuch. I'll talk about old Gorsuch next, right here in the Nation of Jake.
The Voice, KWAM, FM 107.9 and AM 990.
When's the last time you looked at the windows in your house? Not through the windows, but at the windows. Really looked at them. There's dirt, streaks, buildup, smudges, fingerprints, paw prints, spider webs, dead bugs. There's little white speckles. I have no idea what they are, and who knows what else. Now, cleaning all the windows in your house makes a big difference, but it's also a big job. That's why you need Just Windows Home Services. Just Windows has been taking the pain out of window cleaning since 1992. Just Windows cleans all types of windows, storm windows, screens, skylights, interior, exterior, upstairs and down. Now, I know I told you the company is called Just Windows Home Services, but they do a lot more. Roof and gutter cleaning, pressure washing, mirrors, blinds, ceiling fans, light fixtures, chandeliers. Look, if you've got hard to reach areas of the house, then you need Just Windows Home Services. Call for a free estimate, 751-3934. That's 751-3934, or get them online at justwindowsmemphis.com. That's justwindowsmemphis.com.
Free Talk Live.
I wanted to run some new ideas I had past you guys.
Okay, cool. We'll be your sounding board there, Prez.
Ice Cream Day.
I love Ice Cream Day. It's awesome. We should have Ice Cream Month and different flavors, just like Baskin-Robbins.
Every Friday, Americans get free ice cream.
Now, I don't know about that. Now, wait a minute.
From where, George? Ice Cream Angel's going to bring it down?
Free Talk Live, Sunday through Friday nights on KWAM, The Voice, FM 107.9 and AM 990.
Design Jewelers in Bartlett is renowned for being the best in custom jewelry since 1988. But did you know they also do jewelry repair? That's right. If you need size fixing, ring setting, stone tightening, chain or watch repair, stop by Design Jewelers at 3135 Kirby Whitten Parkway. Their combination of expertise and customer service cannot be found anywhere else. That's Design Jewelers in Bartlett, 3135 Kirby Whitten Parkway.
Planning for retirement can be confusing and overwhelming. Tune in to the Servant Retirement Show to hear the current news and events today's retirees need to know. Every Saturday morning at 8 on KWAM, The Voice, AM 990. If you want to talk to Dan Groban or Philip Menard today about your retirement plans, call the team at Servant Advisors Group, 855-260-1000. That's 855-260-1000. Get started on the path toward a comfortable retirement today. 855-260-1000.
You and your friends and associates are invited to attend the Mississippi Senior Expo and Health Fair, Thursday, September 19th from 9 a.m. until 2 p.m. at the Brown Missionary Baptist Church, located at 7200 Swinia Road in South Haven, Mississippi. There will be health exams, flu shots, entertainment, and this year, there'll be food trucks on site to allow you to enjoy lunch while you're there, and a demonstration on healthy living by the Silver Sneakers. The Mississippi Senior Expo and Health Fair is promoted by the DeSoto Times and the Best Times. Mark your calendar for September 19th. You'll be glad you did.
Hello, I'm Bishop Terry Stive, Bishop of Memphis in Tennessee, and I invite you to join us each week for the Catholic Cafe.
And I'm your host, Deacon Jeff, here to tell you about the wonderful sponsors that make the Catholic Cafe possible. Part apothecary, part boutique, Apothetique, in the Avenue at Carriage Crossing in Collierville. Listen to a full hour of the Catholic Cafe, Sundays starting at 10 a.m., right here at KWAM, the Voice of Memphis.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your basement. There's a pair of overalls that overall you're not so into anymore. A perfectly good laptop that hasn't sat in your lap in months. And even more stuff, but still no jobs? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed, and they're the stuff inside your stuff. Even inside that winter coat that moved with you to Phoenix. Our job is to unlock those jobs, and it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover keytar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
This is Sherry from the 19 Strong Show. The politics of Memphis can be unnecessarily complicated and sometimes just downright shady. On Saturdays, the 19 Strong team works hard to dissect the issues and shed some light on the council and administration's decisions and how they truly impact you and Memphis. Join me and my better half for the latest council news and colorful commentary. On Saturdays at 1, join us for your weekly chat rant right here on KWAM 990.
All right, welcome back.
Yes, have some.
The Nation of Jake on The Voice, FM 107.9 AM 990, online KWAMTheVoice.com. Streaming live on the YouTube. The channel is Nation of Jake. You can also follow me on Facebook and Twitter at Nation of Jake as well. All right, so when President Barack Obama was serving his final year in office and Antonin Scalia died, I was like, oh, wow, this is insane. Like, what's going to happen here? I guess President Obama will be able to appoint a third Supreme Court justice to the High Court. And in probably one of the most controversial moves, Mitch McConnell decided, nope, we're not doing that. We're going to not hold hearings because we control the Senate, and we're just not gonna. Nominated was Merrick Garland. That was President Obama's Supreme Court nominee for Antonin Scalia's seat. But Mitch McConnell's like, no, we're just not going to hold the hearings because we don't have to. Oh, man, that was a big controversy, wasn't it? They said, hey, no, the next president. It's pretty clear the next president should be the one to nominate that vacant seat. And so people, they hemmed and hawed, and they said, oh, God. But nobody thought that Donald Trump would be the next president. Everybody thought, okay, fine. Hillary will be the one to nominate the next Supreme Court justice, and it'll be Merrick Garland. And Merrick Garland will be able to sit on the Supreme Court. It's not the way it happened because Donald Trump shocked the world, and then he decided, well, I'm going to nominate this guy, Neil Gorsuch. Neil Gorsuch is from Colorado. He's more of a independent thinker. This is a guy who is a conservative justice in the sense that he wants to govern or judge conservatively. He's an originalist like Antonin Scalia. He's not somebody, I think, with a political agenda. He just wants the law to do what it was intended to do. He doesn't want judges. He doesn't want a judiciary that puts stuff in the Constitution that's not there. Legislating through the courts, he is not a fan of it. And so for that, I'm a fan of him. In fact, when Neil Gorsuch was nominated and he accepted the nomination, he made a speech. And when I heard what he said, I was immediately a fan. Check out what he says and how he says it.
Mr. President, Mr. Vice President, you and your team have shown me great courtesy in this process. And you've entrusted me with a most solemn assignment. Standing here in a house of history and acutely aware of my own imperfections, I pledge that if I am confirmed, I will do all my powers permit to be a faithful servant of the Constitution and laws of this great country.
And there you have it. Not only did he sound like Ted Theodore Logan, Mr. President, Mr. Vice President, as I stand here in a house of history, He's just sounded really Bill and Ted to me. I like what he has to say. It's about to uphold the laws of this country, not to make the laws of the country, not to rewrite the laws of the country, but uphold the laws of the country as a fair judge should. And he's done this interview, this with CNN, and I think it's something everybody should watch. Everybody should either read the transcript, or watch it. Here's a bit of what Neil Gorsuch had to say in this interview with CNN.
The rule of law in this country is strong and stable. And I'd say to anybody who questions what a wonderful inheritance we have in our courts and the rule of law in this country, go spend 6 weeks in a court in another country of your choice, and come back and tell me what you think about our courts.
So he's high on the courts. He likes the law. He understands we're a nation of laws. And when you get into this interview, he sounds a lot like me. And let me just say this: I don't often go around looking for validation in my viewpoints on stuff. I don't go like mining, seeing who agrees with me, who doesn't. But when something jumps off the page, and it's like, wow, that sounds like something I would say, and a Supreme Court justice is the guy who said it. Mind you, this guy's new on the Supreme Court. He's not as new as Kavanaugh, but he's only been there for a few years. And before he was appointed to the Supreme Court, I didn't know who Neil Gorsuch was. All right, and I've been saying stuff like this for years. Check it out. Neil Gorsuch, when asked about his role on the Supreme Court, he asks, "Do you really want me to rule the country? It's a raucous republic, and the battle of ideas is what our founders had in mind. What they didn't have in mind was 9 old people in Washington sitting in robes telling everybody else how to live." And he goes on, and he talks about the role of the courts in shaping policy, and it's just to determine whether or not it meets constitutional muster. Gorsuch says, "I say the country is owned by we the people. We wrote a constitution. We put down what we wanted to put in. And we can amend it when we wish, and it's not up to 9 people to tell 330 million Americans how to live." And that's the kind of stuff I talk about all the time. With regards to the federal government, you've got 545 players in this whole deal. You've got 435 members of the House of Representatives and 100 senators in Congress. That's 535. Then you've got 1 president and 9 Supreme Court justices. That's all 3 branches of government. Of course, there's a lot of other people in there who, serve, say, the president, his cabinet, and all those people. But as far as the ones in charge, your legislative, your judicial, and your executive branches are made up primarily of 545 people, 9 of them being Supreme Court justices. And those are people nobody voted for. Those are people who were appointed by presidents, confirmed by the Senate. All right. So the last thing you want are the 9 people in the Supreme Court legislating through the courts and using those positions in order to make policy for 330 million people. And I've said this over and over again. There are miles of tape of me talking about this very principle, this tyranny through the courts. When the courts, they interpret something or a case and they want to apply it to all 50 states, 330 million people, and they're putting things in the Constitution that aren't there. It's this originalists versus the living, breathing document people. You've got conservative. I like courts that are conservative, not on the right and left, social conservatism versus liberalism, but they govern or they judge or they adjudicate conservatively. They don't put stuff there that's not there. They judge the case that is before them, and everything is narrowly tailored to only serve that case, and then it applies to the rest of the country in the way that it does, but not judges who interpret one thing to mean another and expand it and then apply it all across the country. Because I think that's when you get into legislating from the bench, and that's not what they're there to do. And think about the kind of person it takes to have that kind of power and to restrain themselves from doing it. You have to have a unique personality and somebody who has that kind of respect for the law in order to do that. Because it'd be very easy. I mean, we talk about it all the time. Politicians, they have these high-minded values going in, and then they see what kind of power they have and what kind of temptations there are. And that's why we've got Supreme Court justices who have lifetime terms. So they are not ever beholden to anyone else's whims or anybody else's will. All right, so that's why it's set up that way. But it does take somebody who can look at things with a cool detachment. You know, a lot of people get upset with Justice Roberts, Chief Justice John Roberts, who he allowed the individual mandate to stand in the Obamacare ruling. Well, you know what his reasoning was, and I agree with him, is that you voted for this. You guys did this. This is the law. The Congress has the power to tax. The penalty for not having health insurance, they argued, was a tax, and therefore it can stand because you've given Congress the power to tax. And I'm not here to undo what Congress does because Congress is made up of people you elected, and you did this to yourself. If you don't like it, vote for different congressmen and change the law. That's it. We have a very specific process by which we do things. And we're not supposed to be just sending it to the Supreme Court in hopes that people who think the same way we do rule the way we want them to. Because you get into this situation where, hey, you know what? What if the guy you don't want, he gets in the position where he can appoint people that you don't like? You know, we're in a situation here where people are speculating about the health of RBG, Ruth Bader Ginsburg. You know, if she leaves the court, if she doesn't, she says she's on the mend and she's going to be healthy for a long time. She's 89 years old, something like that. So I don't know what's going to happen, but people are speculating that, hey, maybe her time is coming near to where she will not be on the court, whether that's a retirement or whether that's, I don't want to wish anything bad on the old lady, but she is an old lady. That said, if there's another seat and Trump can fill it and the Senate is controlled by the Republicans, they will fill it. And then you'll be looking at 6-3 conservative justices. I'd rather it be that way personally, just because I like the way that they rule in that, look, we're not going to change the law from here. But if you don't like this ruling, it's very simple. You can go amend the Constitution. You can pass laws that accomplish what you want to accomplish, but are constitutional, but we're not going to change anything. I'd rather it be that way than the other way. The other way where you've got, hell, it could be 5. In a 5-4 ruling, think about all the power that those 5 justices that ruled a certain way have if they decide to legislate from the bench. 5 people making the rules for 5 unelected people making the rules for a country of 330 million. It's crazy. So I would get into this Neil Gorsuch interview because, look, he's not some radical. It's not Robert Bork. All right. This is not a guy who's some sort of wingnut. He's got a very detached, very cool reasoning for his judicial philosophy, and I like him. He's got great hair too. All right, coming up, we got the news cruise, all the latest headlines, local, national, international. We'll get into that next right here in the Nation of Jake.
The Voice, KWAM, FM 107.9 and AM 990.
CBS News Update. President Trump has given his national security advisor his walking papers. John Bolton departs after numerous disagreements with the president on things like North Korea, Iran, and the Taliban. South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham says Bolton is a foreign policy hawk.
The personal relationship between the president and national security advisor is important. The view that there's some public discussions about Bolton being on the other side of meeting with the Taliban probably was a bridge too far.
More from correspondent Paula Reed.
The president has preferred to try to negotiate, try to engage these adversaries, where historically Ambassador Bolton has preferred a more aggressive, militarized approach to adversarial international relationships. So I think folks were surprised when he was brought on. The fact that they just did not agree on many foreign policy issues suggests that ultimately the president's approach will win out.
Now, the president says he expects to name a new security advisor next week. CBS News Update. I'm Jim Chenevey.
Did you know that your potential customers look at your website and determine your credibility within 8 seconds? Make sure your business reflects the quality service you provide. Contact Control Alt Design for a free quote today. Today's marketplace is very competitive and you need a professional web presence. Control Alt Design offers web design at a fraction of what the larger firms charge. Control Alt Design has been helping local businesses stand out on the web for over 20 years. They also offer logo design, business card design, flyers, brochures, and more. See their work today at ControlAltDesign.com.
Just before the Labor Day holiday, there was a big fuss about an announcement about an agreement with major cell phone companies and regular telephone companies and state attorneys general around the country that we were told, and all the fuss afterwards was going to eliminate all the scam calls that are coming on our cell phones, all the robocalls and all the rest. Well, that was too hopeful. The reality is there's a lot of work left to do to stop the calls coming in, which are in the billions each month now, that have false caller IDs, false area codes, all kinds of things with the calls coming in from scammers. Follow my rule is the best way to protect yourself. In the meantime, if you don't recognize who's calling you, family or friend, don't answer the phone. Let it go to voicemail, and then decide whether you're going to call back.
The backyard's looking great, Rob.
Thanks, man. I was planning on adding a deck, too. Know any good contractors?
Why don't you just ask Home Advisor?
Home what?
HomeAdvisor.com. You just tell them about your project, and they match you with local pros that can do the job.
Nice. Now, how much does it cost?
Oh, Home Advisor's totally free to use. Plus, you can read customer reviews, check pricing, and book appointments for free.
What's the website again?
HomeAdvisor.com. Or just download the free Home Advisor app.
Home Advisor. If you have hard water, the Lime Scale not only leaves white spots, it clogs pipes and breaks down appliances, costing you hundreds of dollars in energy and wear. Eliminate Lime Scale and other water issues like brown staining, bad odors, and lead with HydroCare water products available from Wave Home Solutions. Wave's affordable systems don't use salts or chemicals. You'll love the way your water tastes, smells, and looks. Satisfaction guaranteed. For more information, go to WaveBestWater.com. That's WaveBestWater.com.
Welcome back to it.
Yes, have some.
The Nation of Jake on The Voice, FM 107.9, AM 990. We're online, KWAMTheVoice.com. Streaming live on YouTube. YouTube channel, Nation of Jake. Go find it. I'm on social media everywhere. Nation of Jake. That includes Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. Go check it out. We've got some headlines to get to, and we do this on something called the News Cruise. The News Cruise is brought to you by our friends at Just Windows Home Services. 751-3934. 751-3934.
News. Exciting and new. Come aboard. We're expecting you. The News Cruise. Full of exciting news. The News Cruise. So relax and kick off your shoes.
All right, welcome aboard the News Cruise. Again, brought to you by Just Windows Home Services. Those guys can definitely clean windows. That's how they got started, and that's what they do the most of. Inside, outside, upstairs, downstairs, windows are their specialty, but they also can clean off your roof. They can do pressure washing. They can clean out your gutters. They cleaned a ping pong table the other day. Hell, if you yourself have a boat and you want it pressure washed, those guys can do that at Just Windows Home Services. Make sure you give them a call, 751-3934. That's 751-3934. Or get them online at justwindowsmemphis.com, and you'll get 20% off. All you got to do is mention the Nation of Jake. Or really just, hey, Jake told me to call you because I got a dirty ping pong table. They said you do that kind of thing. And they'll give you 20% off. The free estimate there from Just Windows Home Services. Thanks to those guys for being a part of the Nation of Jake. Here in the News Cruise, we got some headlines to get to. You know, my buddy Dave called me this morning and told me about this one, that there's a Tennessee Republican out of Springfield, Tennessee, who supports getting rid of higher education in order to save America. Oh, that's right. He wants to end higher education in Tennessee because it would cut off the liberal breeding ground. Senator Kerry Roberts of Springfield called for eliminating higher education while speaking about attending a recent abortion legislative hearing on his conservative talk show on September 7th. Roberts specifically called out one activist who testified in favor of protecting abortion rights. He asserted without evidence that the woman's beliefs were a product of higher education and claimed that getting rid of higher education would save America. The senator did not immediately respond to a request for further elaboration, but now he has responded. He didn't immediately, but after, I guess, that got out in the news, he clarifies his comments on eliminating higher education by saying he was joking. All right? He says, I was clearly joking when he called in a radio broadcast for the abolishment of higher education in order to cut off the liberal breeding ground. He said, I was joking. But he does stand by his critique of liberal arts education 100%. You see, because in every joke, there is a kernel of truth. All right? And so, yeah, he was using hyperbole to express his disgust in the fact that college campuses have become what he would call a liberal breeding ground. And we can all pretty much agree that, yes, colleges, college professors, college curricula, is that the right way to pluralize curriculum? They are largely liberal. There are countless conservative student groups who claim that they're afraid to come out as conservatives because it might affect their grades. You know, I went to a liberal arts college. You know, it's right there in the name, liberal arts college. It doesn't really mean necessarily that it's liberal. That said, there was a liberal slant, a liberal bent on most of my classes, with the exception of a few. And so, yeah, I guess it is what it is at this point. But there's like a clear divide now. I mean, you've got people who are not so much as calling for the abolishment of liberal arts higher education, but there is a divide. You know, there are people who say, look, we go to trade school, go out and do the jobs that people aren't doing, and we need skilled workers. And there's a backlash against all this, highly politicized work being done at the university level. And it's he says he was joking, and I think that we can just take him at his word. He's got a conservative talk show. You got to fill up 2 or 3 hours, and you do that by speaking in hyperbole sometimes. And so I don't know the guy from Adam's House Cat, so I'm just telling you what he told us. Here we go. Oh, speaking of higher education, Rhodes College, my alma mater, named one of the most innovative liberal arts colleges. Most innovative. It's a national list put out by U.S. News and World Report. Rhodes ranked 35th by the publication. We have from the president of Rhodes, Marjorie Hass, our college's location in the heart of Memphis and our pioneering faculty members provide unique opportunities for our students to pursue the cutting-edge experiences that are responsible for the transformative Rhodes education. So much for the economy of words. Good Lord. She knows how to pack them in there, doesn't she? By supplementing a rigorous liberal and arts and sciences education with hands-on work with the community, we provide an edge to our graduates as they enter the professional world and pursue meaningful change. Rhodes was also recognized as a best value college. A value college? It's $60,000 a year to go there. What the hell kind of value is that? And I don't even know if I like that moniker, best value college. Was like the best value meal? And it's like, is this like a menu item at Wendy's? So there you go. Congratulations to the alma mater, Rhodes College. By the way, not named after Cecil Rhodes, named in honor of Peyton Nally Rhodes, who was a physics professor and president of the university for 16 years. 50 years all told in service to Rhodes was Dr. Peyton Nally Rhodes. Not named for the Rhodesia guy was Rhodes College. That is a common misconception. Oh, we got a very reasonable man firing shots at fast food workers. Memphis police arrested a man, they said, opened fire on workers at a fast food restaurant. This happened at the Checkers on Mount Moriah Road near 1 a.m. on July 12th. Good God, Checkers is open at 1 a.m.? According to a police affidavit, Alravius McSwine. Again, I'm gonna say that name again because I love it. Alravius McSwine visited the Checkers at about 1 a.m. on July 12th. Employees told police that Alravius McSwine yelled at them, saying, "Y'all better not spit in my food." That's a perfectly reasonable request. They assured him they would not spit in his food. I'm sure one of them said, "Mr. McSwine, I can assure you that no saliva of mine will make it into your burger." But McSwine took out a handgun and fired shots into the business, damaging a window. This guy had some sort of, I guess, irrational fear of spit winding up in his burger. None of the 7 employees in the store were hit by gunfire. Good God, they've got 7 employees at a Checkers at 1 a.m.? Do they have that much traffic going through the Checkers at 1 a.m.? Good Lord, they must have some good food. Days later, investigators determined the 22-year-old Alravius McSwine was the suspect. Alravius McSwine was arrested September 9th and charged with 7 counts of aggravated assault. Again, that name, Alravius McSwine. Oh, and we've got another reasonable Memphian. Memphis police arrested a woman accused of pulling a gun on a middle school student. Police were called to Westside Middle School after a 13-year-old girl said a woman pulled a gun on her while she was walking near Fraser Boulevard. Police said several children were in Tricia Triggs' yard on August 38th. It says August 38th. This is from our old friends at WMC Action News 5, their website. Well, on August 38th, this went down. I'm not sure how that works. Triggs told the children to leave, and one of the children yelled at her. The 13-year-old said she was walking away when Triggs pulled up in her car and pointed a gun at her chest. Then the 13-year-old ran to Westside Middle for help. Triggs is charged with aggravated assault on August 38th. All right, so that's all we got. Say, you know anybody with a photographic memory? You know, I have a pretty good memory. I don't think it's photographic. That said, I want to get into quickly, before we hand it over to Earl, just how you could benefit from a photographic memory. I'm not so sure you could benefit as much as you think you could. We'll talk about that, get you set up for the Earl Farrell program. We'll do it next right here in the Nation of Jake. That's not right. That's not it. There we go.
The Voice, KWAM, FM 107.9 and AM 990.
If you're thinking about buying or selling a home, stop. Don't do anything until you talk to my man, James Underwood. James Underwood has been helping people like you navigate the Mid-South real estate market for more than a decade. So whether you're looking to buy your first home or you want to upgrade to your forever home, James Underwood can help make it happen. No gimmicks, no guarantees, just a rock-solid guy that I've known for 25 years. So now, if you're looking to buy or sell a home, hit up James Underwood with CryLike. JamesUnderwood.crylike.com. That's JamesUnderwood.crylike.com.
The special event florist for the Mid-South is Lindoyle Flowers. They are famous for creating incredible floral arrangements and are available to fill even your last-minute needs. From the simple to the magnificent, their staff can create unique arrangements for your special occasion. Flowers always bring a smile, make someone's day, and for fast, convenient delivery, call Lindoyle Flowers today at 901-323-4521 or visit their beautiful new location at 6225 Old Poplar Pike.
Did you know that your potential customers look at your website and determine your credibility within 8 seconds? Make sure your business reflects the quality service you provide. Contact Control-Alt Design for a free quote today. Today's marketplace is very competitive and you need a professional web presence. Control-Alt Design offers web design at a fraction of what the larger firms charge. Control-Alt Design has been helping local businesses stand out on the web for over 20 years. They also offer logo design, business card design, flyers, brochures, and more. See their work today at ControlAltDesign.com.
The Dave Ramsey Show, weekdays from 9 to noon.
Do I care if you get out of debt? Yes, I want you to win. I want you to have a great life. But do I care if you agree with me? No, I don't care if you agree with me. If you don't agree with me about this money stuff, you're what's known as wrong. I've been doing this longer than most of my critics. They were peeing in their diaper while I was doing this stuff.
The Voice, FM 107.9 and AM 990.
All right, the Earl Farrell program.
Yes, have some.
You've been waiting for it all day, you know. Earl Farrell for Memphis show coming up in just about 10 minutes or so, right here on KWAM The Voice at FM 107.9 and AM 990. For now, you got the Nation of Jake in your ear hole for a few minutes more. So I came across this story, and it kind of got me thinking. A store cashier in Tokyo, Japan, has been arrested on allegations of stealing the credit card information of 1,300 customers just using one tool, and that is his memory. Yeah. The part-time worker was arrested Thursday for stealing credit card details to buy $2,600 worth of bags from an online shopping site last March. A police source familiar with the investigation told CNN that the man, who worked at a mall in Koto Ward, had allegedly memorized customers' credit card information while processing their orders, then recalled the credit card details later to shop online. The suspect has a photographic memory, and police have found a notebook with card details listed in it, according to the source working on the investigation. So this guy was able to, for the short time he had access to somebody's card information, remember it, then write it down at some point in order to use the information to steal stuff. I mean, there's a few questions here. Is that kind of brain power? You got to think, why is this guy a cashier? And then with that kind of brain power, why is he resorting to using it to memorize people's cards, his card numbers? I mean, you would think that a guy with that kind of brain power would be able to put it to good use and monetize it and be a millionaire doing something good for society. But then if you think about it a little further, like what? I mean, this day and age, we've got high-power computers right in our pockets. We don't have to remember anything anymore. So what kind of value does a photographic memory really have? I mean, it would be awesome to be able to remember everything. Maybe it'd be a blessing and a curse. That said, I mean, I'm trying to think about, what you would use that for. I guess maybe being a spy. I mean, if you had to go in and get some sort of information without, being tipped off or without tipping anybody off that you were after it. I guess music. I guess memorizing, musical pieces or whatnot. I guess that could. But really, having a photographic memory, it probably used to be a lot more valuable, back in the days of having to do code talking or whatever it was, stuff that, you had to instant recall quickly. But now we've got so much technology to do that stuff for us. I mean, really, Earl, you got anything on this? I mean, what could you do with a photographic memory?
I could have passed some spelling tests with that.
Yeah, school would be great. I mean, you could do great in school, but as far as practical application, monetizing it, making a living or getting rich, I mean, you could be some sort of...
Chris could remember. That's what he can remember anybody's name.
Yeah, I can remember names, but as far as like having a photographic memory, like holding up a series of numbers just quickly and being able to recall them and spit them back out at you, it'd be fun if you were a novelty like some sort of magician or Vegas show, some sort of freak show, something like that. Maybe. And look, everything just reset. Everything's just kind of done. The power surge happened. I think that we had a power surge a moment ago, and I'm really confused as to what's going on. I've got no idea what time it is. I think my show is over, but I also think that we don't have a computer to line up our CBS News report right now. So I'm just going to keep it up until I hand it off to Earl. See, here's the thing. If I had a photographic memory, I could have remembered all the settings, exactly what's happening, maybe all the passwords that I don't know, as Claire here reboots the old radio station, and I think that we will be back in business here shortly. Hopefully, we will, as I try to stall for time. I'm actually just curious as to how this whole thing works, because I just heard in my earphones an explosion.
KWAM,
there we go.
Your news and information station with CBS News updates every hour on the hour. KWAM Memphis.
This is CBS News on the hour.